uniforms the entire season, but 3 games will give you with the best uniform. Those are the issues I have. The powder blue's out for the Chargers. That should be every game. The Miami Dolphins old uniforms that they throw it back to, that should be your uniform, not the trash you wear now. The Patriots, you ever see them throw back with a little football player in the helmet? It is beautiful, but let's keep the trash uniform.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Things you have to look at is what the team has the following day, especially when it comes to bullpen usage. You know, a lot of the things I like to attack is you see these extra inning games, these games get drawn out, these bullpens get worn, or if someone gets shelled the first 3 innings and they got to go to the pen, you know, early, you know, that's a good spot to kind of hop in the middle of the next game. You know, you got a tired bullpen, right? You try and take advantage there, maybe with an over, maybe with the money line. You're getting plus money on a favorite at that point.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Piece of an interesting couple of weeks in California, if you recall, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, language was inserted into a bill that would outlaw or ban sweepstakes casinos and sports betting, which of course we've seen lots of that happen this year. So California is an interesting market because, as you've said, there is no legal online casino. There is no legal online sports betting.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Like Montreal, has a new coach. Like I might be the new coach of Montreal in 2 weeks. Like they have a new coach all the time, and they always have, oh yeah, we're playing a new system. They're like, they have a bunch of 20-year-old players and kids on the pitch. Anyone that's good, they sell and they trade for money all the time. Like it's a real disaster. But they hit a new low tonight, getting eliminated by the Forge.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. Game Time Decisions live with you right here on SportsGrid on this Tuesday evening. Kevin Walsh, the next 90 minutes as we gear up for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, the National League at home in Atlanta, where they are booked as favorites to get the job done against the American League. This number has been running. We're seeing this as high as minus 130 in some places here, minus 132 in others, as the NL money is continuously, clearly coming in. For those that don't know, the recent history of the All-Star Game, shaded American League, then the NL grabbed it in 2023. It went back to the AL last year. But clearly there is a lot of love for the NL. I do not feel as if home field advantage is a big determining factor in what we are seeing. I think what is likely getting most people to the window on the National League All-Stars is a lineup difference just on its face that doesn't feel real. Let's show everybody here the side-by-side of the American League lineup and the National League lineup, and you tell me if these look even. Break it up into sections. First 4 guys: Glaber, Riley Green, Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh. Against Shohei, Acuna Jr., Ketel Marte, and Freddie Freeman. That looks like it's NL to me pretty easily. You want to side with the power of Judge and Cal Raleigh? All right, so be it. Then you grab the next couple of guys, right? Machado, Will Smith, Kyle Tucker, Francisco Lindor, PCA. On the American League side, it's Vladdy Jr., Ryan O'Hearn, Junior Caminero, Javier Baez, and Jacob Wilson. Is it, of those 10 guys, 5 of the top what are from the National League? 6, 7, all 5? That is why you are seeing this NL number continuously running, a number that I know a few days ago was around minus 116. Earlier in the day, minus 126. And again, we are seeing above minus 130 now in the market on the National League money line. That price has been bet by one of the guys on our team earlier at minus 118. Our guy AJ's favorite bet tonight is the NL. For Sam Yarnell, he's going to go with the first 5 under 3.5 at -110. The total always a bit of a talk when you view what we have here in terms of the All-Star game. The number right now, again, is at 7. Chris, a juicier option, but I don't mind it. Both teams to score 2. That is -175. I'll just give you recent American League history. That's hitting 5 straight. It may go back further. And despite that, we've not seen a lot of these games give you over 7 runs, and yet that's been a winner. It's why the -170 price is there. For myself, it's a -140 American League number. I was tempted to just bet the AL on the money line because I'm getting a plus price, and while the hitting advantage is, I think, pretty clear with the NL, I think the pitching advantage is there for the American League. Skubal is still presently better than Paul Skeens. Garrett Crochet, Hunter Brown in the fold. 3 of the 6 or 7 best pitchers this year from the National League are Philadelphia Phillies, and none of them are on this roster because they all pitched just a little bit too close up to the All-Star game. And that is represented in the odds, by the way. Zach Wheeler is the favorite. Chris Sanchez, the 3rd best odds. Ranger Suarez tied for the 4th. And again, none of them will be available today for the National League. So how did I think it was best to attack that? AL score first. I have the pitching advantage, and I hit first every inning. I think at -140, that is a number worth getting in the mix with. I know a lot of people are also going to be playing your All-Star Game MVP, and understandably so, because we've got big-ticket items on big names, and you've got monster options if you go further down the board. Here's where our crew lines up tonight. We'll explain a little bit why I'm on the shorter side, but Chris is going to go Pete Alonso, 35-1. Sam goes 65-1. Kyle Stowers, and then Eugenio Suarez, 55-1 for AJ. Again, I would be odd man out betting the plus 750 number tonight on Aaron Judge. The reason for that bet is I feel as if we are seeing more and more conversation around the guy off the bench than I ever remember in recent All-Star Game history. So this, to me, suggests we could perhaps be getting some softer numbers on the top-end guys, albeit a rarity to say you're getting a soft number on Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani, but that's how I felt. Plus 750 on Big 9-9, I thought was worth a swing. At the end of the day, if you're going to bet one of the starters, you're probably going to want to bet one of the guys that are starting and hitting top 3 or so in their lineup because they're most likely going to get multiple at-bats. Aaron Judge is going to get multiple at-bats. Cal Raleigh probably as well. From the National League, Ohtani's going to get multiple ABs. And so will Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm split on who's going to win tonight. I lean AL because of the value, but I also spread out my All-Star Game MVP love. So I played Aaron Judge, and I played Ronald Acuna Jr. I also couldn't help myself go with a couple of bench options. I'll take Bobby Witt at 20-1, which is a dropping number. That was actually at 27-1 if you acted a little bit quicker earlier on today. And then Matt Olson is 55-1 over on DK. I opted for a little hometown flavor. Again, with the bench players, it's like, these guys will play. But Matt Olson, I think Matt Olson could very well end up getting like 3 at-bats. I don't think Freddie Freeman is interested in anything other than his first AB. And Matt Olson, an Atlanta Brave, we saw him in the Home Run Derby yesterday, which was a treat, and shout out Cal Raleigh for helping the people out. But I think you could see Matt Olson get involved here a little bit. We're trying to find some opportunity, so I did play the Matt Olson number at 55-1. The only other thing I opted to do is something that we talked about on our show yesterday, which was backing the 2 superstar pitchers in Tariq Skubal and Paul Skeens combined. Combined starting pitcher specials for 4 strikeouts is plus 260. I'm on it for a little bit. Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal combined for 5 Ks, 11-1. We're on it for a little bit. Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal combined for 6+ strikeouts in the first inning. It's 100-1. Now, it's a shame that it's smartly narrowed down to in the first inning because I think there's a sneaky chance Paul Skeens goes 2 innings. The gap between the AL starters and NL starters is legit, and I just think that Pittsburgh would be totally fine, and quite frankly, if he threw the entire game. But that's not relevant to this wager. Even if we see Skeens pulled after 1, I just feel that these are two guys that will be as excited as anyone to go out there and show off their stuff. Right? This is the stage for Paul Skeens due to the state of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Screwball, mind you, did not get the start last year. It was Baltimore, at the time, Baltimore's Corbin Burns, who, is actually now out for the season after signing with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I opted, again, lightly, to ladder up arguably baseball's two best pitchers to maybe see if they could double strike out the side and give us a 100-1 ticket with Skeens and Screwball for 6. So to remind you again where everything sits right now, for myself, a best bet of the AL to score first. We get 2+ runs from each team from Koski at 175. First 5 under 3.5 from Sam, and then an NL money line at 118, which is up now to around -130 from AJ. And then your All-Star Game MVPs, Judge, Alonso, Suarez, and Stowers. Now, I know you're excited for the All-Star Game. You're wondering, what am I going to do on Thursday? Bet golf is the answer. We'll talk to Brady Cannon next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Live with you here on Game Time Decisions. And again, All-Star Game coverage will, of course, be a big part of what we do tonight. But I know there have been some folks out there who are like, what are we going to bet on? What is there to do? What are you talking about, folks? We've got a major championship. And it's why Brady Cannon is with us here. Brady, how are we feeling heading into the Open Championship with, of course, Old Faithful, Scotty Scheffler at the top of the odds board?
I tell you what, Kev, I can't wait. About 30 hours away, and they will tee it up at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland for what is Glory's last shot. You know, they used to call the PGA Championship that glory's last shot when it was the final major of the year. Well, of course, now the Open Championship is the final major. Glory's last shot and the champion golfer of the year. A couple of my favorite phrases of the entire golf season. We'll have both of those here this week. And Kev, when you ask me that question in July, what's my favorite major? My answer is the Open. In April, it's the Masters. I love this tournament. You know, there's so many different personalities and people from all over the globe, and the golf is completely different from what we're used to seeing. And we should have some weather involved, and I think it'll be a dandy for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch this play out, and I think it actually really worked out in this perfect way for golf. I know the start times are a little different, but it's really going to be center stage over the next couple of days here. And of course, people are always locked in over the weekend, but on Thursday, not much else doing. So people are going to be betting this in droves, Brady. There's so many different things that we can get into, but let's just start with this. Who is at the top of your outright card for the Open?
Well, I'm not alone in saying Jon Rahm. In fact, I think the entire golf crew here at SportsGrid, Keith Stewart, Cam Stewart, and Mike Carver, we all like Jon Rahm this week, anywhere from 12 to 16 to 1. I got him at 14 to 1. And Kevin, I really think he's the best player, second best player in the world right now to Scottie Scheffler. And you've got Scheffler in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 to 1, Rory in the neighborhood of 7 to 1, and Rahm at twice the price, I think is good value. And I'll tell you, I also, if you're just looking at the very top of the board, I prefer Scottie a little bit to Rory. You know, this has been quote unquote Scottie's worst major. He's never finished inside the top 5. He's finished inside the top 10 twice. He's 4 for 4. He's never missed a cut. Let's not get each other confused here. He's still Scottie Scheffler. But I have a feeling he's going to do pretty well once again. I could see him cracking the top 5 like he always does. I don't want to bet him to win. I think that might be our boy Jon Rahm.
Well, listen, Jon Rahm, I know, is inspiring some confidence with some of the more recent performances there. And since we hit a little bit on Scottie, we hit a little bit on Rahm, I might as well go to the man in the middle, which is Rory McIlroy, who, I don't want to be mean, but boy, did that whole what played out over at the Scottish Open, Brady, it feels like we're back to same old Rory. And look, the Masters jacket's going to stay on his shoulders forever, but the fact that he was booked as the favorite at plus 125 to win that tournament going into Sunday in the final group, and it's not him coming in an awful win entering this. Like, again, it's just that to me is a separation between him and Scottie. If that's Scottie, Scottie wins that tournament. And for Rory, he was only plus 125. Scottie would have been about minus 400 to win that tournament, quite frankly.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And it's because it's like Tiger versus Phil. Mickelson wasn't necessarily a closer or a front runner, I should say. Tiger was, and Scottie's the same way. When he has the lead, forget about it. And Rory showed that he is susceptible. I thought he was going to go on and win. He's won there before, just 2 years ago, but that was a bit surprising. And now, he goes to his old stomping grounds where he set the course record when he was like 16, famously or infamously missed the cut when they played here in 2019, and Shane Lowry, his buddy from the same country, went on to win. Rory shot, I think, a 79 on that first day, made an 8 on the very first hole back in 2019. And I'm not saying he's going to do that again, but if he slips a little bit, it would not surprise me, because different from football and basketball and every other sport we cover here, golf, I think, is not so advantageous when it's a home game. Obviously, this is where he grew up, where he's from, played this course 100 times. But that also brings expectation and eyeballs and spotlight and attention and pressure ultimately. And we saw him, succumb to that pressure 6 years ago. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's not quite right here again this week.
Yeah. Rory is, with that Masters, it feels like his whole career is complete now.
Yes.
But of course,
he doesn't
need
to do anything else.
Right. He could gladly walk off tomorrow. Right. But it was just one of those reminders. He won the Masters, and I believe that ended up being booked as the favorite for at least a little bit of time right before the PGA Championship. And you just see now it's like, oh, yeah, he's nearly double the number of Scottie. And That's probably rightfully so. Let me ask you this. When you're entering into that next tier of golfer, that 20 to 35 to 1, did anyone jump off to you?
Yeah, I started making these bets really immediately after the U.S. Open, Kevin, and Rahm was the first one. Rahm was fourth in that field for strokes gained tee to green at Oakmont. If he would have made a putt all week long, he might have won the darn thing. He finally made a putt on Sunday, and he shot a 67, and he finished seventh. But he played beautiful golf from tee to green all week long, and so did Tyrrell Hatton, who ended up finishing fourth. And I could just hear in his comments what kind of confidence that gave him after getting so close there at Oakmont on such a difficult golf course. I think Hatton is an absolute player here in this field this week. He finished sixth here in 2019. He's a master on links courses. He's won the Alfred Dunhill Links 3 times. He's been playing well on Live. He was a guy that I took at 30 to 1. You might even find him a tick higher than that. And then Robert McIntyre at 35 to 1. He also finished sixth here in 2019 and has won on some correlated courses before. I think he's a mutter. He does everything well. He can play in weather. The Scotsman is another guy on my list at that mid-range price.
That is a couple of interesting names there. We're going to keep Brady around. We're going to talk a little bit more about this tournament, the options that are out there, because again, I've heard some people like, what are we doing this week? We're betting a major championship. What else would we be doing? We're going to talk to Brady about it after the quick break here on Sports Grid.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back at the right here on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. We are with Brady Cannon. We're talking about the outright market of the Open Championship. Jon Rahm kind of taking center stage for really the golf crew here, which should, sound off alarm bells to everybody. But, Brady, you were telling me the card runs very deep for this major championship.
Yeah, I mentioned Jon Rahm at 14, Tyrrell Hatton at 30, Robert McIntyre at 35, and then I just start to get deeper from there. I got Jordan Spieth at 50, who, by the way, the last 10 years is the best Open player in the world. If you look at his track record, he's incredible. Never missed a cut. He's won here. Spieth at 50 is actually a bad number. You might be able to even find 70 or something like that, but I bet him earlier, and that number has drifted ever since. Took Russell Henley at 65, just comes off of a top 10 finish at Oakmont, finished top 5 here at Royal Troon last year. I think he has the game that suits this course. Took Jason Day, the old man. You know, this is a tournament that we've seen old guys do very, very well. Darren Clark, Phil Mickelson, Tom Watson, Greg Norman, you know, all these guys have been in the mix. Adam Scott, you know, could be another guy that we saw flash at the U.S. Open, but Jason Day has done extremely well here in his career. Again, one of the top players at the Open Championship in the last 10 years, who finished runner-up 2 years ago in 2023 at Royal Liverpool. And then Ryan Fox at 85-1, who's got 2 recent victories on the PGA Tour. He's won in Europe a number of times. This guy will be playing in his 9th British Open, and his highest ever finish was 16th right here at Royal Portrush. And then let's see, where did I go after that? Okay, I think I have just one more, and that's the big bomb I was telling you about earlier. 400-1. And literally, I put $5 on him, Kevin. Let's see if we can win $2,000, right? I am not going to spend a lot of money on a 400-1 shot. But the bottom line is, the truth of the matter is, and we all know this as sports bettors, if you find a price out there that you think is a real bargain, or a price that is wrong in your favor, then it might be worth a shot. And it's 400-1 on Mackenzie Hughes, a very good Canadian player who has finished as high as 6th here at the Open Championship in 2021, which I think is a correlated course, St. George's, and then also finished 16th last year at Royal Troon, which I think is another correlated course. He's also done extremely well in Canada on a course designed by the same guys who worked on Royal Portrush and designed it. So I think there's some things that absolutely make some sense about Hughes. Now, what should his real price be? 250, 300 maybe to win this thing? But I thought 400 was out of whack, so I took a stab.
Listen, and at the end of the day, why not? I've also found that the people out there, they love when you throw them a 400-1. They're more interested in a 400-1 that has a little bit of fight to it than a 10-1 that maybe actually crosses the finish line. There's a golfer I wanted to make sure.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
You know, we're probably not going to hit that for a winner. God, would that be fun if we did? But I also bet him for first round leader at 150-1, and I also bet him to finish top 40 at plus 240. So you know,
Not
there's
bad.
some other ways that we might be able to cash with Mackenzie Hughes.
Absolutely, and we'll be rooting it in. I wanted to ask you about Shane Lowry. Last time they were here, he wins. The last time we saw him at a major championship, he was 17 over. And we haven't really seen Lowry in a little bit. What are your thoughts on the Irishman heading in?
He hasn't won since this tournament in 2019. Now, he won a team event in New Orleans last year with Rory. You know, I guess that counts, but he's not won an individual event since the major championship at Royal Portrush in 2019. He's an absolute great fit for this golf course. I think accuracy trumps length off the tee, and Shane's got that. He's got magic hands. The short game is tremendous. He's not a great putter. He has not been putting well this year, but he can scramble with the best in the world. So he's got a lot going for him as far as skill sets. And, you know, he's been playing pretty darn well this year. And his Open record is very, very good. But, you know, you can't pick them all. And I don't. The other thing, Kevin, I think that guy's going to go back to the first tee, and all those feelings and those emotions are going to run through his veins.
Yeah.
And that might throw him off just enough to take him out of the tournament for 9 holes or something like that. So I don't necessarily like to take the guy who's quote unquote the defending champ, because I think emotionally that's very tough to overcome.
Yeah, it's so interesting because in this moment, you know, and I'll look a little bit more as we get a little bit closer, I don't know what I expect from him, but I know I'm interested, right? There's guys you always check on regardless if you have a bet on them or not. And for me this week, Shane Lowry will be one of those guys. Brady, we appreciate it so much. Thanks to everything that you and the guys have helped people put together, and I know you will be continuing to crush the coverage of the Open Championship on SportsGrid. We're taking a break. We're coming back. The All-Star Game. We'll talk about that and a lot more at next.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions live with you on a Tuesday night, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. I know for many bettors tonight we'll be taking center stage. Right now we're seeing the National League booked at around minus 130 to win this game. Total checks in at a 7. Skiing Schoolball will start things off. We're excited for that. We're betting on that. But if your eyes are elsewhere tonight, the WNBA could be bringing focus into the fold, and the WNBA is actually heading towards their All-Star break, and at the midway point, one of the teams that'll be probably still the favorite to win this whole thing will be the New York Liberty, and covering that team is Miles Ehrlich, who joins us here on Game Time Decisions. And Miles, we appreciate you making some time, and I just want to start with kind of the season that has been so far for the Liberty. We're 20 games in. There was a 9-0 run where it looked like every record in the history books would be theirs, the offense, the point differential. And then the Jonquel Jones injury happens, and, you know, now they're 14-6, still great. But, again, those first 9 games, it looked like they were going to go 40-0, it felt like. What do you make of the Liberty through their first 20?
So I think, and someone asked Sandy Brondello this at practice the other day and said, if you were going to be told that you would be 14-6 or something through 20 games, would you take it? And she said, oh yeah, absolutely. The league is really, especially with the compressed travel schedule, it's really difficult to stack those W's. And especially when you lose a piece like Jonquel Jones to injury, when Leonie Fibish was out at Eurobasket, Sabrina missed a game at one point when she had a neck injury and then she came back and wasn't quite right. So in the margins, it's a tough league to win in. But yeah, if you look at this point, they're still leading the league with 86.3 points a game, and they're finding ways to win. In their win the other night against the Dream, they had a season low 6 turnovers while forcing 16 the other way and had a 19-point comeback in that one. So I think the sentiment around the team is we need to be healthy in October. We don't need to be healthy in June, July. And they're getting some of these injury woes out of the way. That's their perspective, is how they're trying to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, to be 14-6, you can only be overjoyed about that, right? But would you say, Miles, that it feels as if, and there's no reason I think she won't be, but if Jonquel Jones is not out there, this Liberty team is a vulnerable group, potentially, if they were in the playoffs without Double J?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that it's something that I've actually been saying for a couple of years, and some friends on the beat have said this as well. that while Jonquel Jones, who is also last year's Finals MVP, she doesn't always necessarily make that conversation as much as Brianna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu does as the best player on the team. But we've always argued that she's the most important player on this team. She anchors the defense, and what she's able to do specifically when it comes to calling out coverages, to being somebody who's 6'6" and defending at the level and pushing guards out near half court while also being able to recover, the way they use her as a hub on offense for just so much of that ball movement, that was a big adjustment for them. And we saw those turnover numbers skyrocket in those first couple of games without JJ. Couple of games in a row at 20 plus. And now, like I said, the other day down to 6 is really encouraging. But over the last 3 seasons, the Liberty are 28-0 in regular season games where Jonquel Jones has a double-double. And yeah, this year she's averaging nearly a double-double. I think it's 9.6 rebounds and like 12.9 points. And she's also, like I said, 6'6" and shooting 44% from 3. So that is just production that you're not going to replicate. And that's not saying anything bad about Niara Sabali or Izzy Harrison, who have both been playing really well in terms of replacing some of those minutes, but you just can't replicate the production and just everything that comes out of what Jonquel Jones can provide on a nightly basis.
Yeah, it's well said. Up next for the Liberty will be the Indiana Fever, who are in action tonight, and the Fever have had an odd season so far, right? They sit 11-10. Caitlin Clark has missed 9 of those games. She also missed the Commissioner's Cup against Minnesota, which they won against the odds. Clark she's on track to maybe have the single greatest assist season in league history, but the 3-point shooting numbers have been woeful during her most recent stretch. What have you seen from what you've been able to catch of this Indiana Fever group?
So this is a team that I think has a couple of different identities at play. And that was kind of on display when you talk about that Commissioner's Cup game. And they bring in Ari McDonald, who's an undersized guard, but she is scrappy and she is up and defending 94 feet. And they're moving the ball a little bit more. Whereas when you have Caitlin on there in that game, she is just drawing so much gravity herself. And if she's taking those shots and they're not falling, like you mentioned, she struggled recently. She's 6 for 46 from 3 in her last 6 games, and she hasn't shot over 35% from the floor since before her injury in those 9 games that she missed. It's just, you're not punishing defenses for that over leveraging. So yes, she's still second in the league in assists, averaging 9 a game, and the strides that they've made in the pick and roll between her and Aaliyah Boston are really encouraging. Natasha Howard is playing a lot better now, but she was kind of streaky to start as well. I think this was kind of a situation where it would take a while because they brought in so many new pieces, including Dewana Bonner that didn't work, Natasha Howard. They just had to kind of figure out how everybody could eat. And now they're trying to find exactly what that identity is with Caitlin out there and Ari at the same time, because now they're starting them both in the backcourt. And that's a very different look than where they started the season.
Yeah, there's and a brand new head coach, right? That team, the final product, right, probably will look a lot different than those first, 6 or 10 or so games. The thing for the Fever, their 11-10, somewhat disappointing start is far better than what's going on in Las Vegas, because Vegas have been the perennial powerhouse in this league, and they still have, at worst, the 3rd best player in the sport, arguably still the best player in Aja Wilson. They just cannot hit the ground running. And it felt, Miles, I believe you were at the game, like they had an opportunity against New York, and instead, Aja gets injured in the game. They lose that game. They lose the next game to Washington. And this is a group that, at best, will be 500 going into the All-Star break.
Yeah. I think when you think about Vegas, what they've been the last couple of years is it starts with their defense. And right now they are 9th in opponents' points per game, 9th in defensive rating. And there's only so much that Asia has been able to cover up for them. And that's because they haven't gotten the production from their guards in terms of just literally staying in front. And offensively, nobody is getting to the rim. For a team that has one of the most dominant bigs, the 3-time MVP, they are 11th in points in the paint. And that's just not going to get it done. Jackie Young is outside, and she's had a really good all-star year, but Chelsea Gray hasn't bounced back like they hoped she would after the injury 2 years ago in the finals. and they made that trade for Jewel Lloyd, and Jewel has not been efficient at all. So that was their four-headed monster, and when Asia misses time, they just can't recover. And I think that's the thing we're seeing with both these teams is that they can't punish teams in transition. The Fever are 11th in fast break points, and the Aces are last, 13th place. So neither of these teams are getting easy buckets, and it shows on the court that they're working so hard in the half court.
Yeah, it's, again, a fantastic breakdown of a team that I was very high on entering this season, and I think there's still some optimism there, but now you also occasionally are like, are they going to be in the playoffs? So it's a very, very interesting start for the first half of this WNBA season. And Miles, I know you'll be covering it the entire way, the second half and the All-Star game. We appreciate you making some time.
Thanks so much for having me, Kevin. This is a good time.
All right, great stuff as always there from Miles, who does an excellent job, again, covering the W, but really focusing in on the Liberty. And one of the things to keep your eye on, by the way, that three-point contest, we've been waiting to see Sabrina Ionescu, Caitlin Clark in that mode. We'll have our eyes on it for sure. We'll be right back after the break.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Major League Baseball All-Star Game here on a Tuesday. I want to try and grab you a couple of odds look around the markets, and it looks like your low number is probably minus 125, I want to say, for the National League. And this total right now, in terms of the 7, more and more and more bets, it feel, are coming in on the under. I remember earlier in the day we were seeing around minus 120 on that over. I'm now seeing over on a DK plus 101 over the 7. So it gives you an idea of just how the market is starting to move and react here heading into the All-Star game. Also, and the crew in the back did a good job. I hadn't seen this. Apparently, Clayton Kershaw is slated to start the second inning and only pitch to 2 batters. Maybe he'll record 2 outs. Very clearly what is going on is you have Clayton Kershaw appearing in his final All-Star game. I don't know if it's his final season, but I guess it's his final season. They're going to throw him out there in a prime spot. 2 batters, 2 outs, whatever it is. Hand up, hat off, hugs, the whole thing. Raucous applause is the expectation. I find this all to be a little weird because I missed Kershaw telling everyone he's done. Like, you would have thought maybe that would have happened already. But it is what is expected tonight. So, depending on how things go, Clayton Kershaw could face Cal Raleigh. He also might not come in until Jacob Wilson. You never know how Paul Skeens will fare. To talk about that moving total, Tom Vecchio stops by. And Tom, it's good to have you here, sir, because you are on this total, and it's moving the direction that you're betting it, which is towards the under.
Yeah, I have a position on under 7. Bet it's whatever it was earlier today. That's what I'm expecting to be like. I think people have a skewed idea of all-star games overall. They expect it to be a ton of scoring, but in order for that to happen, like, pitchers, I don't want to say they'd be like grooving pitches down the middle, letting the batters hit it, which is not really what's going to be happening. Like, the pitchers still have pride. They still want to go out there like they are there because they're great pitchers, and they're great pitchers because they strike them out. They don't allow home runs, like all these sorts of things. So this is not to say that like we're going to see no scoring, but a 4-2 final I think is in play. And like I said, as I said yesterday, I am waiting for a live over, right? So I think there's room for a middle. I did use the FD boost on the under, so I do have plus money on it, so I can still bet the over and come out net even or net positive, depending on what the number is.
Can I throw something at you then pregame? Because I didn't know.
Yeah, let's do it.
Under 8.5, over 4.5, even money.
Is that like a same game parlay that you're doing?
Yeah.
Under 8.5. I mean, that's in theory what I'm going for, but you have it preset. I don't mind that. You got it, as long as you get it at plus money. I would not want to be laying juice in that circumstance.
But even money, I don't know. I'd have to go back to the most recent. Again, I know over the last 5, that would be 5-0. I know that much because that's just directly in front of me.
Okay.
You have a couple of other All-Star game trends up there. I know, Tom, you say that you're not big into the All-Star game trends of who's been winning it, but you don't mind an All-Star game trend in terms of how the total's been playing.
Well, I'm not considering that a trend. I'm just considering that because we have great pitchers. Like, we have great pitchers, and they show up more often than not than the hitters. Like, this is still a game of fail. Like, that's what baseball is, just a game of failure. So regardless of the trends, like, what is it for the under? I didn't see that the entire. I would guess like 7 of the last 10 at least would be the under. 5 of the last 7, if I'm reading that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is like, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Is that like causation or correlation? Right? It's like, is that a leading thing, or is that just because we have great pitchers involved?
Yeah, I what I would say is, because again we were talking about it a little bit pre-show, and to me, to almost answer for you, right? Like, rosters change, but the setup doesn't, right? Like, it's still the best of the best, but it can skew either direction. But you feel as if the pitchers have an advantage. Are you betting anything other than a pregame under? Did anything else look, even if it's a smaller play, worth it?
I have, as I said yesterday, Ellie De La Cruz to win MVP at 34-1, I believe it was, 35-1, whatever it's at. As I mentioned the other day, the Kyle Schwarber number, I said 40-1 was a pretty good spot for him. That number for Schwarber, I think, has dropped to 30-1. So, decent amount of movement from yesterday to today. Yeah, he's 30-1 now. Again, like, what wins you an MVP? Like, 2 home runs from Schwarber, a solo shot and a 2-run shot can win you the MVP, especially if we are going to be seeing it under. And again, that's the kind of theory that I'm taking with Elly De La Cruz. A solo shot and 2 stolen bases, like, man, that is game-changing stuff. That's what wins you an MVP.
Yeah, for me, I opted, Tom, to take a little bit of the starter, a little bit of the bench guy, because I think we are seeing the starters, at least in some of the conversations that I've been having, be overlooked a little bit. So I played these 4 guys. Tell me which guy. How about this? Tell me which guy you hate the most.
Okay.
Judge, 750. Acuna, 11-1. Bobby Witt, 20-1. Matt Olson, 55-1.
Don't like the Matt Olson one.
Whoa!
If they're going to give it, if there's going to be a Braves MVP, it'll probably be Acuna. Like, that's, if I had to take a guess, that would be it. The injury, he didn't get the chance in the home run derby. The Judge number, I understand. I don't love that. Like, you think he has to hit a home run off Skeens, but I don't love the Matty O one.
Wow, I actually.
And Matty O's my guy. He won.
No, he can't be. Can't be. You just attacked him.
Lead the league in homers 2 years ago.
No, you were true. No, you used to be a Matt Olson guy. It happens. This is like how Lisi used to be a Burrow guy, but now he's just a Jaden Daniels guy. I got a couple NFL questions for Tom on the other side of this break.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions with you here on a Tuesday night. We've got Tom Vecchio stopping by. We talked a little All-Star game with Tom. I do want to mix in some football. Tom and I have been doing this a little bit more when we link up here on Game Time Decisions, and there was some contract stuff going on today. One, thumbs up, smooth, everything's positive. One, not so much. That would be Terry McLaurin. My question to you, Tom, would be, if Terry McLaurin is not a Washington Commander, how concerned would you be about their outlook heading into next season?
Massively concerned. Massively concerned. This is, and this is going back a couple months where the contract came up. I want to say around the draft. I think somewhere around there, or the first OTAs right after, or whatever it might be. And I was like, listen, they have a side. Terry has a side. His agent, they want to get to a certain number. Just get it done by August 1st. Don't let this bleed into training camp. But we are quickly approaching that. If he is not at training camp, it's an issue. They're either going to pay him or not. That's just, I have this take about all these contract disputes. He wants whatever number, they want to be another number. Whatever their final offer is, get it done. Stop doing this with your star players. Them not paying him is a mistake. Them then trading him to get back assets and be like, oh, all these other teams traded, we get back all these picks, and look what the Texans, they did a trade and they got all these picks that turned into CJ Stroud. None of that matters. Stop doing that. Those are moves 3-4 years down the line. You're in a spot to compete this season. I'm not going to say win a Super Bowl, but you're in a spot to continue to develop your young quarterback, and not having Terry McLaurin is a mistake.
Yeah, I think Terry is probably using what you laid out there to his advantage, because Washington, one, should not squander the window of cheap contract Jaden Daniels, but also they have the ability to pay Terry McLaurin due to cheap contract Jaden Daniels. And, when I was going through, because it starts with the NFL prep, that Washington outlook, the bright spots, right? I mean, it is Jaden Daniels, but skill position-wise, if you were to remove Terry McLaurin, the running back room isn't electric. Deebo Samuel's more of a question mark than a guarantee. I know they added Laramie Tunsil, but Sam Cosmi tore the ACL late in the season. Josh Connolly, a round 1 pick, could be good. We don't know. McLaurin is supposed to be that piece of certainty on that offense. Not having it would be frustrating. The smooth order of operations, Tom, was Trey Smith getting re-signed by Kansas City. And I don't think this was going to play out any other way. But boy, did it need to play out this way. Because they already lost Joe Thuney. And it feels like every time Mahomes is playing behind a less than ideal offensive line situation, the results are significantly underwhelming.
They are. Always worried about his ankles. He's already had a few ankle injuries, I should say, over the years. Get it done. Get it done now. It doesn't bleed into training camp. I've always kind of been of the belief when it comes to Mahomes, where he didn't need to have the best assets around him in terms of the skill positions. The line needed to be awesome. But Mahomes' magic, if you just give him good enough options around him, he will, rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing, where you get enough out of Kelsey. Rice comes back whenever he does. You have Xavier Worthy, who maybe takes a step forward. But if you have enough pieces around him, they'll find a way to get it done, and Andy Reid will cook up some plays. But as long as the line is good, I would rather have a good line and okay pieces around him than okay line and great pieces around him, if that makes sense.
Which is funny, because it may be the latter as opposed to the former.
Right.
Trey Smith is nice. He's not like a perennial Pro Bowl All-Pro guy. Creed Humphrey's fantastic. Yeah. There are still questions at tackle, but there's excitement because you get year 2 Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice back. Do you have an opinion, Tom, by the way, on the wide receiver 1 in Kansas City, or pass catching option number 1? Week 1, who will have the highest receiving yards of Kansas City options?
If Rice is back, I think it should be him, but I think the market would push Kelsey there. It would be overinflated.
Man, I think Rice.
Is there a date for Rice yet? Because he got hurt in week 3 or 4 of last year.
I think he's back. I think he's back and playing. That's the vibe I get around it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be stunned if Xavier Worthy was this team's lead receiver, though.
I hope he is. He's on my dynasty team. Rocket ship, him, Keon Coleman, rocket ship to the moon, and Ricky Pearsall. I got all 3. We're going to the moon.
This guy loved that draft class. Tom, appreciate it. As always, we go back to the All-Star game with Craig Mish next here on SportsGrid.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is live on SportsGrid on this Tuesday night. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game features a National League group who just continues to take bet after bet after bet. I am seeing now a minus 134 over on FD. So a lot of love for the National League in the market right now. Again, total still sitting at a calm 7. To help us talk a little bit more about this and everything surrounding the All-Star Game, that would be Craig Mish, of course, covers all thing Miami Marlins, but also does an excellent job hosting Newswire here on SportsGrid. Craig, it is always good to get to talk to you. I will ask, do you have a lean at all on who will win tonight's All-Star Game?
No, but the shift, I think, is because of the weather. I think that's what's going on, is that I guess that if it's a complete game, I don't know how they handle things after 4 or 5 innings if there's a rain delay. I know the tarp is on the field there. So that's the only thing I can think of with that shift, because you don't see that, Kevin, ever with an exhibition All-Star game or anything like that. I mean, nothing has changed. So some fact must be that. It has to be.
It makes sense. The only other thing that I've posited is just if you put the lineup side by side, not that the American League lineup looks bad, it's just the National League lineup looks much better. And I just wonder if you're seeing people go, whoa, PCA in the 9, Frankie Lindor in the 8, like, and maybe, right? I think it's on the board. I think the American League pitching's a little bit better. I didn't bet a side. It's the All-Star Game. There's a lot of different conversations. Craig, I'm curious, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here. It seems like the kind of thing maybe you don't want to get caught up in, but I'm still going to ask it maybe against better judgment. But all this Mizorowski conversation, did you have a take on this whole thing?
Yeah, no, I can get caught up in that. I can't get caught up in the Marlins like every day. That's the only thing, because that's the kind of thing that I can't. I mean, listen, there's really no rules for us as it stands, honestly. But I just feel like for my own benefit, knowing what I get, like via call and text message every day, it's not in my best interest to talk about betting on the Marlins. This is a decision I have made. I don't think that there's any rules. I just have made a decision. So I've explained this on a number of different shows that I've been on, Kevin. It's a really good question, and I think it's a fair question. The reason why I didn't like it is a little bit of a backwoods kind of answer, because I'm very familiar with how the arbitration process works in Major League Baseball. I told Scott this, and I told the guys this morning, is that the arbitration process is very complicated in the sense that you have these folks who are presiding over these cases, Kevin, sometimes that know nothing about baseball. So you can imagine one of Scott Boras or Scott Boras's agent versus, let's say, the Cleveland Guardians and one of their assistant general managers. And then you have somebody sitting on the other side that has no idea who they are. And they're just being fed and given information. And in the end, they got a rule on whether or not in that case somebody gets an extra million or doesn't get that extra million. And getting that extra million could be simply by saying my guy was an all-star. And so to me, that's a huge factor in this process that I don't think Major League Baseball thought about. I think that if they're going to do this, there's going to have to be some sort of minimum amount played in order to be this, or you're just going to have to do away with all these bonuses and arbitration cases that get filed and money goes around based on those appearances. Because right now, some player is out there saying, this guy played 5 games, I played 70, I get 50,000 for a bonus, or I'm going to go to arbitration. I can't say I was an all-star. And by the way, Kevin, do we even know if Mizorowski is going to be good in the future? We have no idea.
No, to Greg's point, which is an incredible one, 2 innings of Chase Burns, he's the greatest pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball. We're back to, we'll see, right? And I hadn't thought of that. I can make the comparison to the NBA, where I've heard people who vote on the All-NBA teams. Brian Windhorst has mentioned if it's close, because that impacts money a lot. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. missed out on north of $50 million because he ended up not making All-NBA this year. So those are the kind of things like someone like yourself, very plugged in, would be aware of. I think what feels so odd about this situation, Craig, is that Major League Baseball's like, no, well, we thought Sanchez and Ranger Suarez deserved it too, but they couldn't pitch in the game. And it's like, well, now this whole thing just feels very odd, is I don't know the best way to say it. I did think that Major League Baseball had a great night last night. I thought the home run derby was a treat. I understand maybe it went a little bit longer than anticipated. That seemingly happens frequently, but I thought they were mashing baseballs. I thought Cal Raleigh was awesome. It feels like every O'Neill Cruz home run from now until the end of the season will go viral. I thought last night was a huge win for Major League Baseball.
Can you bet live on the Derby, Kevin? I'm legitimate. Yes, you can legitimately asking. Here's a good lesson for next year, because I was at the All-Star game last year, and me and my son went to Texas. We just couldn't make it to Atlanta this year. Almost did, but couldn't make it. A good lesson would be to fade whoever goes first. Because this is the second year in a row where whoever went first, you felt like this guy's doing amazing, and he didn't even make it. You just don't know what the field is going to look like. So it's just a good betting lesson, I think, for next year. Whoever the first one to go is, because weren't you watching Kevin think, oh my gosh, James Wood, he's going to be outstanding. He's going to hit 500 home runs tonight. And then all of a sudden everybody beat him. So I think we get caught up in that moment real quick when somebody gets started and you think that this is what the Derby is going to look like, where 12, 13, 14, 15 home runs is okay. But besides that, yes, it was a big win for baseball. Very exciting, down to the end. Yeah. All you could have asked for is having 2 guys going head-to-head, taking the ratings right until the end, where the winner inevitably was Raleigh.
Yeah, and it isn't like they hang those odds and, they go the whole way because people like betting on the Derby, right? Like last night, there's nothing people are betting on more than the home run Derby. So it gets people fired up, and Cal Raleigh, the favorite, won, but I know people were betting on Cal Raleigh, so I think a lot of people, and that's stuff that next year now, people who bet on Cal Raleigh will be excited about this year. They're like, see, I got this thing figured out. Don't worry, just you wait. I've already got next year figured out. Let me ask you this, Craig, of course, with the second half that's going to be starting in just a couple of days. Is there a main storyline you have your eye on heading into the second half of the Major League Baseball season?
I would like to see teams that are new to this dance go for it a little bit. In the American League, it would be low-lying fruit. If I didn't say it, would be the Tigers. I'm very excited to see the Tigers make some moves here and really push their foot all the way down. I think they got a great shot if they can do it. And then the other team in the National League, Kevin, that I think has to learn their lesson from the last few years. And, certainly they have the manager to do it. But Kevin, it's a cliche word. Do the Cubs have the fortitude to do it? It feels like they've fallen apart the last few years in September when we thought they were kind of sitting where they were right now. and then didn't do it. I understand they have Kyle Tucker. I understand they have Pete Crow Armstrong. That's a change from years past. But I'd like to see how far the Cubs can go if they made a significant move. So Tigers and Cubs for me would be the markets that I'd be watching.
Yeah, and I mean, I think those are great teams to keep an eye on. I would say two things on that. I would say, one, you don't want to end up the Baltimore Orioles because that deadline last year came and went, and all the optimism in Baltimore has now gone with it. You know, with the way things are now, maybe next year will be different. There's still a lot of young guys, but they're in last place in a division that it felt like they could grab control of for a stretch of time. The other thing I would say to Chicago, but even Philly, the Mets, maybe the Padres, the Dodgers feel a lot more vulnerable than I was expecting, Craig. And they are still the team with the very best record in the National League. It is not to say that they shouldn't be the favorites. But, just would you say the Dodgers feel more beatable than you thought or about the same?
About the same, Kevin, because I think that at the deadline, I think they're going to reinvent themselves a little bit. I think you're going to see them add several bullpen pieces. I just don't think the market is to allow them to add 3 or 4 starters. So I think they kind of got to play to that strength, and a lot of those arms are available. So if their starters go 4 innings, Kevin, seem to be good with it.
All right, well, we'll find out, Craig. We appreciate it. As always, again, make sure you catch Newswire right here on SportsGrid. We'll be back with more Game Time decisions.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that river. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're live right here. It is Game Time Decisions on a Tuesday night. Excited to have everybody in the fold here. And, one of the things we also wanted to get to, we haven't actually had the opportunity just yet on our show tonight, would be the news out of New York, New Jersey, the Jets, and the locking up of both Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. We're going to go over the Major League Baseball All-Star stuff again before we get out of here. Don't you worry. But it is noteworthy to see the Jets get these deals done. And if you are a Jet fan, this is one of the better 24-hour stretches you have had in a decade. Because Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, the idea is that those two will be a part of your franchise. You were hoping, right, once you realized you hit on those two players, and they have hit on those two players, you were hoping that those guys would be a part of your franchise for a decade. And now you've signed them, and they're going to stay. But it's not just that you signed them. So you got out in front of it in a way that other organizations have not learned how to do. We talk about Washington and their ongoing situation with Terry McLaurin. We don't hear about Micah Parsons because Micah Parsons is very aware that every day Dallas doesn't pay him, it adds $1 into his pocket. Everything that happened with the Cincinnati Bengals. And the fact that I still don't know if Trey Hendrickson or Shamar Stewart will be on that football team when we're, breaking down week 1 action. The New York Jets have put themselves in a situation where Gardner's there, Garrett Wilson's there. And that doesn't just feel like an endorsement of those two football players, right? Garrett Wilson, who we've talked about, a little bit in the recent stretch on this show, as we did, that top 10 wide receiver conversation. Garrett Wilson, who's 3 for 3 in terms of 1,000-yard seasons and has a really, really bright outlook. Sauce Gardner, who was basically the best quarterback in football from when he stepped on a field. I understand last year maybe he took a step backwards. The team overall did. The in-season firing of Robert Saleh, which was a mistake. But I think Sauce Gardner is still one of the 5 best DBs by pretty much anybody's eyeball. So for the Jets, you want to have those guys there. But this shows, I think, some confidence in Aaron Glenn, right? I think it shows that Aaron Glenn has confidence in those guys, right? It's taking Wilson and Sauce and making them Aaron Glenn guys. And that connective tissue that you want for a football team who's trying to take steps in the right direction. What is very interesting to me about the New York Jets, when you think about what has defined their most recent seasons, it's, of course, the quarterback play. But if you're willing to ask, again, a Jet fan a question beyond the QB play, you'll often hear about the offensive line. And the offensive line has had some really low points, again, over this most recent half decade or so. Well, this year's offensive line, you're hoping AVT is healthy, who has been a positive player since the day he was drafted. John Simpson on the other side, with Joe Tippmann in the middle, gives you a group you can feel good about in your guard-center guard combination. And the two tackles, Olu Fashanu at Penn State was nothing outside of extraordinary. Did not hit the ground running in his rookie season, but there's upside. And Armand Membu out of Missouri, the round 1 pick that the Jets made, who some believe was the best offensive tackle in that class. It is on the board for the New York Jets that their best position group is their offensive line. It's on the board. When was the last time the New York Jets could say that? I don't know. It has been at least a decade, maybe close to 2. So it's a team that if this offensive line hits and you pair it with Aaron Glenn and he can get the defense right, they will have an ability to get through a very low win total of 5.5. What I think is still a question for the New York Jets is, would they be satisfied, the fans, the front office, with a 6-7 win season? And is this team prepared to do what it takes if Justin Fields doesn't check the boxes? And odds are he will not. But if Justin Fields does not check the boxes, and then next year, get your guy. Because I'm looking at the Jets right now, and it doesn't feel like this is the year, but it feels like next year, if they could hit on a round 1 quarterback, they could be ready to make some noise. Again, it was a very, very good last, 24 to 48 hours, I thought, for the New York Jets. A reminder before we get to the All-Star game in our final segment, Tonight, the WNBA features the Connecticut Sun hosting the Indiana Fever. They'll do so without Marina Mabry, basically, a.k.a. their only pretty good player. So they are now 16-point underdogs as the Connecticut Sun are heading towards being historically awful this season. Late night, the Sparks and the Mystics see L.A. a 1-point favorite at home in that game. And the Mystics, by the way, have just continued to be awesome relative to expectations, sitting at 11-10. The Sparks, not so much, but they will become a team to watch. I think people will be very interested. After the break, the expectation is Cameron Brink will be back. This team's, they said, by the end of July. Their last game in July at home against Vegas. Could that be the Cameron Brink return? It is absolutely possible. Cameron Brink, of course, going second in the draft class that Caitlin Clark went first. I am still waiting to see when Caitlin Clark can, scoring-wise, get back to the level that she is supposed to be at. 6 consecutive games where her field goal percentage is 35% from the field or worse. Her number tonight for points plus assists is 25.5. I think that's worth a look towards the over. Her triple-double number was 27-1. I know at one point that number has moved quite significantly down now to 16-1. A double-double shot could be worth a look. We'll close this out with a Major League Baseball All-Star Game breakdown next.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, let's close it out on this Tuesday. Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The National League booked as a favorite against the American League. The total in this one is not only a 7 at even money. It is a 6.5 on DK as they become what looks to be the first or one of the first to get underneath that 7 number. We're seeing at minus 125 for now the number here of 6.5. So 4-3 would pay out, 5-2 would pay out. A little bit of a shift within the market. I am not betting on the total. I am not betting directly on a side. What I am betting on is the American League to score first at minus 140. First at bat, every single inning, better pitching. The top three for the American League is Skubal, Hunter Brown, Garrett Crochet. That's a winning formula. I'll take my chances that maybe we get the Aaron Judge solo shot. We're getting Paul Skeens. Clayton Kershaw's getting the ball second. So there is a big pitching advantage here for the American League. I think at minus 140, we're getting a really, really nice number. I'll do a double check here. Let's see if that number's moved at all. Oh, down to minus 135. They're fading the kid. Unbelievable. It's all right. We still feel good about it. That's my best bet. Best bet from our team. AJ is betting a money line. He's going to go and bet the National League. Numbers moved in his favor. He played it at minus 118. Sam's on the first five under 3.5. Numbers should be moving in his direction as well. Chris with a strong trend. Both teams to score 2+ runs. Minus 175. Over or under. This has been a consistent winner in the All-Star game. Is hitting at least the last 5 Major League Baseball All-Star games, so you get an idea where he is coming from and why the minus 175 number could still be worth it. We have all also got involved in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game MVP market, where you find Shohei Ohtani booked as the favorite across all books. Of course, shop around and find the best of the number when you're going to get involved with the All-Star Game MVP options. We are seeing AJ go with Eugenio Suarez off of the bench for Arizona. Kyle Stowers off of the bench for Sam for Miami. Pete Alonso off of the bench for Chris. All National Leaguers off the bench. I'm going an American League starter, Aaron Judge, plus 750. My favorite of the bunch. I'm zagging on everybody's off the bench. I didn't even know he was really an option guy. I feel good about, I think, like if they hung odds, starter, guy off the bench. The starter would be booked as the favorites, but if I could just get like minus 110, I would be interested in that. I didn't only play Aaron Judge. I also played Bobby Witt because as much as I'm zagging, I'm still going to grab an off-the-bench option. And then I went double Atlanta. If the hometown flavor is close, I think it would be a tiebreaker. So give me Ronald Acuna Jr. at 11-1 and give me Matt Olson at 55-1. I feel increasingly better about the Matt Olson price as we get closer because Freddie Freeman, I'm saying doesn't take the second at bat. And Matt Olson in Atlanta is definitely going to get an option to get up there and hit after almost knocking out Cal Raleigh, by the way, in the home run derby last night. The home run derby last night had a couple of close calls for Cal Raleigh, who did take it down. A shout-out to Cal Raleigh, though, who did provide the show a winner last night. We almost saw the Junior Caminero 11-1, 10-1 number come in. And I'll tell you, I was tweeting about it. I was letting people know. I hedged off a little bit of the Cal Raleigh for some Junior Caminero. The broadcast had me thinking that Junior Caminero was basically already a first ballot Hall of Famer. Short, sweet, swing, look at the ball go. That's what it felt like. It was so dangerous. Now, Cal Raleigh got the job done, and that was great to see. And by the time that I am next speaking to you here on this show, we will be into the second half of the Major League Baseball season. And the thing that I think last night increased even more is the Cal Raleigh home run chase. Cal Raleigh now, a part of this home run season, puts a home run derby trophy on the board. He looks to set the record for most home runs in a single season by a catcher. Most home runs in a single season by a Seattle Mariner. Most home runs in the American League. The 38 home runs at the break is so outrageous, maybe imagine he ends up hitting the most home runs in a single season, passing good old Barry Bonds. Now, those are the kind of things that Cal Raleigh is going to need to do to knock out Aaron Judge, who is still booked as a favorite at minus 140 to lead Major League Baseball in total home runs. That adds all the more intrigue. Maybe Aaron Judge can put an All-Star Game MVP on the mantle right here at the break. In-game live's next.